The envelope sat on the counter like it carried a secret meant to wound me. My name, Michael, printed in elegant cursive, nothing more. No "and guessed," no "Ryan" tucked in after it. I slid the card out, careful, as if maybe, just maybe, there was another slip of paper inside, an RSVP, a forgotten second invitation, anything. But the envelope was empty except for that cream-coloured card with embossed roses and 2 names at the top, Daniel and Sophia. My younger brother, the kid I'd practically raised, was getting married, and my son, his godson, his shadow growing up, wasn't invited. At first, I convinced myself it had to be a mistake. Daniel wasn't just my brother, he was almost like my son. I was 14 when I started taking care of him, while our parents pulled double shifts at the factory in Aurora. I walked him to school, helped with his homework, even taught him how to throw a football tight enough to impress the older kids. When bullies mocked his stutter, I stepped in, fists clenched, making sure they never tried again. And Ryan, my boy, had grown up worshipping Daniel. Every Friday was their game night. Every Sunday, the 2 of them hovered over comic books or grilled burgers in the backyard. Daniel was family to both of us, our constant. So I dialed his number, heart pounding. He picked up quick, like always. "Hey man, you get the invite?" "Yeah," I said, staring at the card. "But where's Ryan's name? He's 16. Practically grown." There was a pause, longer than I liked. Then Daniel's voice, smooth but stiff. "Right. The wedding's adults only, no kids under 18. Sophia's family wants it upscale." I pressed my knuckles into the counter. "You're kidding me. He already bought a suit. He looks up to you, Dan." "I know," he said, with the kind of tone that meant he didn't. "But this is how it is. Hope you can respect that." My throat went dry. Daniel sounded less like my brother and more like some hotel manager politely denying a refund. Still, I bit my tongue, hung up, and tried to breathe. But not 5 minutes later, the phone buzzed again, a new number. I answered, and the voice was cool, clipped, unmistakably hers. "This is Sophia. Just so you're clear, the guest list is final. Ryan won't be included. It's not personal. It's about tone. This isn't a backyard barbecue." Her words hit harder than any punch. Not classy enough, not the right tone. She wasn't just excluding Ryan. She was erasing him. And now I had to figure out how to tell my son the truth, that the man he idolized, the uncle he adored, didn't think he deserved a seat at his wedding. I found Ryan in the living room, sprawled on the couch with his old Nintendo Switch, thumbs flying across the buttons. He looked up at me, eyes bright. "Think Uncle Daniel wants to play tonight?" he asked, hopeful. My chest tightened. I wanted to say yes, to keep the lie going, but I couldn't, not this time. "Ryan," I said, softly, motioning to the kitchen table. "Sit down a minute." He looked puzzled, clutching the controller, but he sat. I slid the invitation across the table. "You're not on it. I called your uncle. Sophia says no one under 18 is allowed. It's adults only." Ryan blinked, staring at the card like maybe the letters would rearrange themselves if he stared long enough. Then he gave a little shrug, stiff and unconvincing. "It's fine. I wasn't really expecting to go anyway." His voice cracked on the last word, betraying him. That broke me. He reached into his hoodie pocket and pulled out a navy blue tie, still with the tag on it. "I bought this last week. Used my lawn money. Thought I'd look sharp for the wedding." I swallowed hard, fighting the burn in my throat. "You didn't do anything wrong. This isn't about you." "Maybe Sophia just doesn't like me," he whispered, his knuckles white around the tie. "No," I said firmly. "This is about them being shallow. And if they don't want you there, then they don't get me either." He shook his head quickly. "No, Dad, you can still go. Don't let me ruin it." "You're not ruining anything. I said. What ruins it is them treating my son like a mistake on a guest list. I grabbed my phone, dialed Daniel. He picked up on the second ring. I'm not coming, I told him. If Ryan isn't welcome, then neither am I. Silence. Then his voice. Flat. Sorry you feel that way. Like I'd cancelled a dentist appointment, not my brother's wedding. I hung up, my hands shaking, but Ryan's eyes widened. You'd skip it for me? Damn right, I said. You're my family, period. The wedding day came with blue skies and perfect weather, but instead of tuxedos and champagne, I took Ryan to the AMC downtown. We crushed popcorn and sour gummies, laughed through the new Marvel flick, then hit Big Jack's Burgers for greasy chili fries. By the time we ended up in the arcade, his smile was back, real, unguarded. But as we clinked soda cups together, my phone buzzed non-stop. Texts from Daniel, then from Mum. Finally she called. Her voice was sharp as a knife. Michael? You embarrassed your brother in front of Sophia's family. They were asking where you were during the toast. I stepped outside, jaw tight. He embarrassed himself. My son isn't furniture you can leave out of the room. Her sigh was long, exasperated. You should have sucked it up for one day. No, I said, voice flat. That's exactly the problem. Everyone keeps sucking it up, and one day you don't even recognize your own family anymore. I hung up, knowing a line had been drawn, and I wasn't crossing it. Christmas crept up like a storm cloud I couldn't outrun. Mom called again, her voice syrupy sweet this time. Michael, please, just come to Christmas Eve dinner. For me, everyone will be there. Daniel, Sophia. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I hesitated. I didn't want to set foot in the same room as Sophia. But when I asked Ryan, he surprised me. I don't want to miss Grandma and Grandpa, he said quietly, eyes fixed on his phone. We can go, but together. If it gets weird, we leave. I nodded. Deal. On Christmas Eve, Ryan came out of his room wearing that damn tie, the same one he bought for Daniel's wedding. Grandma will like it, he said with a half smile that cut me deeper than any insult. The moment we walked into Mom's house, I knew we didn't belong. The air smelled of expensive candles instead of pine and cookies. Soft piano music floated instead of Grandpa's classic rock. Sophia greeted us with a tight, rehearsed smile before turning back to her wine. Daniel gave me a nod, but no words. Dinner was worse. A long table stretched across the dining room, set with crystal glasses and folded cloth napkins. But in the corner stood a little folding card table with 4 chairs. Someone gestured. That's the kids' table. Ryan froze, looking at me. My blood boiled, but he walked over silently, pulling out the chair as if it didn't matter. He sat there, tie straight, back rigid, while whispers filled the room. I stayed at the main table, every muscle in my body straining not to explode. Halfway through the meal, Sophia's father rose with a glass in hand. To new traditions and clean slates, he said, grandly, and to family, however it evolves. The words landed like a punch in my gut. Evolving family. Translation? Cutting off the parts that didn't fit their glossy picture. After dinner, Ryan approached Daniel with a small box. We got you something, he said. Inside was a framed photo from our camping trip years ago. Me, Daniel and Ryan by the fire. Faces lit with smoke and laughter. Real, honest, ours. Daniel glanced at it, gave a faint nod. Thanks. That was it. No smile, no memory shared. Just thanks. Ryan's lips pressed tight, but he said nothing. That night, scrolling through Facebook, I saw photos from Daniel and Sophia's cocktail parties. White tents, wine glasses, everyone polished to perfection. No Ryan. Never Ryan. Sophia had erased him not just from the wedding, but from Daniel's new life entirely. And in that moment, I realized something painful, but clear. My family wasn't divided. It was complicit. After that Christmas disaster, I stopped chasing peace with people who didn't value us. Instead, I poured everything into Ryan. A month later, I found a beat-up 2003 Toyota Tacoma on Craigslist. Rust around the wheel wells, engine coughing like a smoker, but the frame was solid. Perfect project. "Looks like junk," Ryan said when we towed it home, but his eyes betrayed curiosity. "Junk can be fixed," I told him. "Same with people, if they want to be fixed." Weekends became ours, grease on our hands, music blasting from an old radio, sockets and wrenches clattering across the garage floor. I showed him how to swap brake pads, patch a radiator, bleed the lines. The first time he got the truck to start without stalling, he whooped so loud the neighbors peeked out. He landed a part-time job at a detailing shop, the same place I started when I was 17. First paycheck in hand, he waved it like a trophy. "Feels different when it's yours, doesn't it?" I asked. He grinned, chest out, taller somehow. Ryan started posting progress pics of the Tacoma online, before and after shots, close-ups of polished chrome, the new wheels we installed together. Comments rolled in. Old buddies of Daniel's wrote things like, "Damn, wish my dad did this with me," or "That truck's going to be a beast." I saw Ryan reading them over and over, his shoulders squaring with quiet pride. Meanwhile, Sophia's classy family empire was cracking. Local news splashed headlines, high society, low ethics. The IRS was investigating her parents' dealership network for fake charity receipts and shell non-profits. Their glossy reputation, the one we'd been deemed unworthy of, was in shreds. I didn't even have to say a word. The hypocrisy spoke for itself. Then one Saturday, while I was swapping out a rotor, a silver SUV pulled into the driveway. I wiped my hands on a rag, squinting. Daniel stepped out. No Sophia, just him. His hair was thinner, his face pale, shoulders slumped. He looked smaller. He stood at the end of the driveway, hands in his pockets. "Hey," he said, voice hoarse. I crossed my arms. "Didn't think I'd see you here." He nodded, staring at the ground before meeting my eyes. "I miss my nephew." For a long moment I said nothing. Just the sound of the Tacoma's cooling engine between us. Then I turned, walked up the porch and pushed the door open. "You want to see him?" I said. "Then show up. Not once, not words. Show up." Daniel swallowed hard, nodded, and stepped inside. We sat at the same kitchen table where months earlier I'd told Ryan he wasn't invited to Daniel's wedding. Daniel kept glancing around, like the house felt foreign now. He rubbed his palms together, struggling. Finally, he spoke. "I let her change me. Sophia, I didn't even fight back." His voice cracked, raw. I didn't let him off easy. "You didn't just let her change you, Dan. You chose it. Every step." He flinched, then nodded. "I know, God, I know." His eyes filled, tears rolling silently. "I hurt Ryan. I know I did." I leaned forward. "Do you know what he did the night of your wedding? He sat in this kitchen holding the tie he bought with his mowing money. Said he felt like trash. That's on you." Daniel buried his face in his hands. "I'm sorry, I didn't think." "That's the point," I cut in. "You didn't care enough to think." He stayed quiet, shaking. Then finally, "I want to fix things." I stared at him, searching for any sign of sincerity. "Then don't tell me." "Show him. Not once. Not for a weekend. Show up and stay." The next Saturday, Daniel pulled into the driveway at 7 a.m., a fishing pole sticking out the back of his car. Ryan was already on the porch, his own rod leaning against the rail. I watched from the window as they packed up, Daniel awkward but trying, Ryan cautious, but hopeful. They came back at dusk, sunburnt and smelling like lake water. Ryan walked in first, holding a brown paper bag. "Uncle Dan says burgers on him," he grinned. Daniel followed, quieter, but when we sat down to eat, he laughed at Ryan's jokes. Not forced, real. Over the next weeks, he kept showing up. Calls, texts, afternoons in the garage, helping us finish the Tacoma's tailgate. He didn't know what he was doing with the tools, but he didn't quit. That mattered more than skill. One evening, as we wiped grease from our hands, Ryan leaned back against the truck and said, "Feels like old times?" I didn't answer, just looked at him. My son, taller now, stronger, carrying scars he'd never deserved, and thought, this is family, not blood, not names on invitations. But who shows up when it's hard? Who stays when there's no audience? Daniel might just be one of those people again. Maybe. But even if he wasn't, Ryan already understood the lesson. Sometimes being a man means standing alone, so your kid knows exactly where you stand. And sometimes, if you're lucky, the ones who broke you return. Not perfect, but humbled, ready to rebuild what they destroyed.